Hi, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor Hobson. Thanks for checking me out. So, today I'm going to talk a little bit about something that always fascinates me, the Matrix and simulation theory. So, in the movie The Matrix, there is a lot of deep thoughts that come out. One of them is that we have people that can go in and out of the matrix because they're in quote unquote the real reality. But in a simulation, in simulation theory itself, there is no other place for people to go from one reality to another. In From the program's point of view, there is only the program. So within simulation theory itself, what a lot of people don't really understand is that the programs themselves, there is not another layer that people can go and wake up from and be at, for instance, in the Matrix. If you haven't seen the movie, this will all kind of be over your head. But in the Matrix, they'd wake up in a type of cocoon. In a simulation theory, there is no cocoon. You just are in your simulation, and what you would notice is that if you could, that you're in a simulation. It's as if you were a fish and you're swimming, and then the fish, to notice that it's in water, how would you notice that you're in water? Well, maybe you'd splash a little bit and on the surface, and you see a ripple, or maybe somehow something would fall into the water and you'd see a bubble rise and you say, what's that? But of course there'd be people explain away the bubble, and they'd explain away the ripple. So from the program's point of view, there would be no way for you to discern that there was somehow in a simulation. Now, according to Philip K. Dick, when he came out with his ideas about simulation theory, everybody thought he was totally insane. And he said that you would notice, because there would be glitches if there were. And one of the things that would be a protective envelope from the simulation from being noticed would perhaps be simulations of glitches themselves, or even acts like that we were in a multiverse with things happening that would be protecting itself. So the one thing that the simulation would be, one of its prime directives would probably be protecting the idea itself that it was a simulation. So in 2014, 2015, simulation theory really hit popular culture. In 1999, when the movie The Matrix came out, we had the Matrix films. But when simulation theories came out, there was a James, I forget the theoretical physicist's name, that said he saw computer code that was propagating throughout the universe, and it looked like it was computer code, was how information was translated between in space. So he said, gee, that looks like it's computer code. And one of the interesting things that he showed on the screen, he did a slideshow presentation. One was looking like a UFO, which I thought was very interesting. No one's ever talked about. With Claude Shannon, who for some people talked about being a Mandela effect, with Claude Shannon in his theories of information and transference from one medium to another. He's really the grandfather of the internet and the computers, and how we transfer information. It was ones and zeros, and within his formulatic programs within the construct, you'll see it kind of triangle shapes, and one of the higher integers was 1111 as it translates the data between lower and higher data streams, which would be a frequency. So when those frequencies occurred, translating as if silicon or with as I talked about before with crystals, when you vibrate crystals, they resonate at certain frequencies. Well, when those frequencies vibrate a certain manner, you're going to lower vibrational frequencies to higher vibrational frequencies, and that's how we have RC cars and radios and things of that nature. And then we have other crystals that translate the higher density frequency into lower density frequencies. Same thing with communication. It's the same thing with, reality itself has to be based on some kind of formulatic structure. The formulatic structure that I talked about before was the flower of life and the pi, and we have the golden ratio. So when we look at the golden ratio of things in how the structure of reality is, you'll see that the golden ratio is a structure upon which reality is based. When we come up with that information, then you're able to discern that there is lower orders of magnitude of creation and higher dimensional ways. Once we discern that there's lower and higher dimensional ways, it doesn't take a lot of imagination to understand that there's higher dimensional values. The higher dimensional values can be discerned by having lower dimensional values. So all that's come into play, and the problems that we have are that people indiscriminately, scientists and governments, are trying to discern higher dimensional values, but they use, for instance, a wrecking ball like CERN, using wrecking balls like quantum computers, where they're not really taking as a scientific, you would think, as approach as possible, just indiscriminately, just trying to destroy the fabric of reality to understand its base information. But if anything, what we discern with the double slit experiment is that the base reality, when we start looking at base reality, that base reality's changing as we perceive it. It changes into the perceptions that we already are looking for. So that, when I'm going to say, when I'm going to use the phrase monad, that monad-like structures are what, we need to have a disciplined mind to discern the traces within it, so we could understand the higher values and give credence to God for creation instead of ourselves. Thanks so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share. Hope you enjoyed my little rant. All right, bye-bye.